Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
I was struggling for the past year and a half, 2 years with trying to lose weight.
I just can't get rid of the stubborn weight in my legs and in my belly.
While everyone is unique and will have varied results, here are extraordinary experiences from independent body affiliates and actual Belvital users.
There's nothing more frustrating than knowing that you're eating well, but it's not working.
Hormone imbalances were preventing these women from losing weight. Now there's a comprehensive plan to help.
With Belvital, I just noticed changes immediately. That stubborn scale finally moved.
In this first week, I lost 5 pounds.
Just after 1 week, I'm down 6 pounds and all of my bloating is gone.
I just finished the Belvital program. I have lost 15 pounds and I have never felt better.
I've noticed inches just shed every week that I go through.
I feel like an entirely different person.
I don't know if I've ever felt this good.
Get hormone health for women at Belvital.com. And while supplies last, save 15% with promo code BV15.
This is Fixing Famous People, the podcast where 2 reality television producers pitch solutions to save celebrities in dire straits.
But first, let's get to the Prefix, your weekly pop culture roundup.
Christopher, can you hear me?
Wait, what just happened?
Chris, I'm aboard the Blue Origin. Can you hear me?
Can't believe I fell for that.
I stowed away in Gayle King's wig box last night. There's no security here whatsoever.
I'm going to kill you.
I'm in here with these 6, it's just 6 women screaming. It's like being on the set of Drag Race España, but with more makeup somehow. What the fuck is going on here?
Are you talking through like a tin cup?
I have my astronaut helmet on. Katy Perry has said, "Don't make me sing" 74 times. Literally no one has asked her to sing.
I'm going to kill you.
I mean, is this the dumbest thing humanity has ever done? Muppets in Space? Like, what are we? Will we even talk about anything else for the next 40 minutes?
Dominic, we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
What a low point in human history this space flight was. Honest to God. Give us your thoughts. I feel like you have so many thoughts on this, your head might explode.
I do. One, I mean, let's all say it together. Why did Katy Perry not sing E.T. Extraterrestrial when she was in space? Like, why? I'll never, even if she sits me down herself and tells me why, I still won't. That question will go unanswered.
I think that she thought it was going to be too obvious. So what she thought to do instead was in every interview talk about, it's not me. This isn't about me. It's not about my singing. And said it so much. It's like, yes, it is about your singing.
Also, why else are you there if not to sing as you guys come back down to Earth?
P.S. She showed the set list for her concert on some cardboard butterfly she held up to the camera.
It is about you.
Of course it's about her. What is she talking about? What was this?
Well, I know what it was. Well, we do know what it was. What this was an advertisement for the fact that you yourself can now buy a seat on one of these.
Great.
Like that. If you go to blueorigin.com.
If you go to blueorigin.com, are they sponsoring this podcast? Can you imagine?
That's the whole point of this.
We've ripped apart every crew member of Muppets in Space. But can you imagine if they sponsor this podcast?
Like quartered, and you know what they used to do when they would like hang someone in the square and then quarter their body and drag it through the streets of the town? That's what we've done to all these people.
What an utter. I know about 10 people who lost their jobs last week. I'm not even kidding. Like at least 10 people who've lost their jobs.
Legitimately.
This was the ultimate like read the room experiment. Like you're sending Oprah's best friend, the fiance of the second richest man in the world, and a singer that gay people dismissed 2 years ago up into space. It's costing $1 million a fucking second. What are we doing? And who's on the ground cheering them on? Who?
Michael Jackson herself, motherfucking Kris Jenner. Tell me she didn't look exact. I was like, is that Michael Jackson's ghost? Oh, wait, it's Kris Jenner. Am I wrong?
What were the Kardashians doing there?
I mean, what weren't they doing there? What weren't they? Like, of course they were there. And like, honestly, like it makes perfect sense. Like it actually makes, when you like take it in for one moment, again, there's no like real astronaut there. It's like, the celebrities that are like sucking Lauren Sanchez's humongous dick. That's what, like, you know.
No astronauts, but like 30 fucking space cadets. I will definitely say that.
Oh,
and
sure,
also,
sure.
Let's say something positive. Kris Jenner's hat, it was a 10. I wish she was at another event. But
can I buy it? Yeah. Her hat is like those.
It did look like a DeRosa. It did look like a Chris Hassan moment.
Like, is that a Stetson? Can I get that on Stetson.com? Like, what's happening? I was like, was that from Kimosabe? Like, where can I get that?
Oprah crying, going viral because Gail's afraid to fly.
Okay. Listen to me.
I'm listening.
The only reason that this rocket was not shot out of the sky by like God knows who with like a bazooka is because Gayle King was there.
100%.
Every single person on that rocket, including those like real astronauts that were in space, apparently, who were those other women? Again, I should know who they were, but I simply didn't because all I kept seeing was pictures of Katy Perry, Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez.
But I do know Katy Perry's set list. I don't know the other women on that.
Couldn't tell you. And I'm sure that they actually deserve to be there, and that's beautiful. But like, couldn't tell you who they were. The only reason any of those people survived is because Gayle King was aboard. Period. Am I wrong?
No, because the universe knows we need Gayle King. Did you see the viral moment when Gayle King is boarding the flight and she rings that bell and she looks and she just doesn't look pleased. She's probably thinking, what the fuck have I got? What am I doing right now? I host CBS Mornings. I'm Oprah Winfrey's best friend, and I'm going into space with the woman who's saying, another one in the basket. What is this? Switch, bitch. Like, what am I doing?
Another
switch,
one in the basket.
Thank you.
Although Gayle is the reason that they're alive, I now switch my judgment to Gayle. Why did you let them do this to you? Because this is the reason. You went up there, one, because you're on CBS This Morning, so you will talk about it on CBS This Morning. And so that we can bait Oprah, your lover, into being there. Am I wrong?
No.
Oprah would never have been there if Gayle was not there. She was forced to be there because Gail's like, I might die today. So like, you should be there. And Oprah's like, I guess I have to be. I'm furious with both of them that they fell for that to get Oprah with Jeff Bezos. What do we
Chris, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm here. One of Lauren Sanchez's titty bags just detached and Gail's choking on it. It went. We're in zero G's.
How about when those
it came to life and it's eating the other crew members?
How about when those parachutes got shot off and you heard them all screaming?
When I tell you that that's every scene in Drag Race España, that's exactly what it sounded like. It's just a bunch of people screaming at the top of their lungs.
It was incredible. Okay,
that was the only cute sort of moment. Like when they started screaming, I'm like, okay. That's a bunch of faggots on a roller coaster. I can get into it.
Yeah,
but
like that, yeah.
Then when they got out and started kissing the ground, I was like, we're done here. Like we are.
When Katy Perry came out with that flower to like represent her daughter, give me 17 million breaks. Like, give me a break for the rest of my life. I can't. And then when they're kissing the dusty, gross ground, I was like, this is disgusting.
Kneeling on a cloth. It's like, bitch, put the cloth down where your lips are gonna go, for God's sake.
Well, Dominic, they then had to like go be in a press conference for no reason in their like slutatious like suits. So like their knees couldn't be dirty because Lauren Sanchez has to parade them all out in front of a fucking like God knows what so that they can, be like, this was so beautiful. I also love that they all keep being like, as I was up there, I was just so overwhelmed by the beauty of the earth, which I'm sure that they were. You know what I mean? I also feel that we would be that way. And they're like, we have to do everything that we can to protect her, our mother, Earth. Yeah. And I'm like, what you have just done has been a detriment to the environment, like times 1 million.
You've killed feminism. No one will stand up for your rights anymore.
Layer. Like, what do you mean? Like, and now we're going to do this all the time for fun.
I could not believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe how they kept going on and on in the press conference afterwards. The entire excursion lasted for 11 minutes. They were only at 0 G's for like a minute and a half or something.
Not even.
Ridiculous.
Like 35 seconds. You and I have been in 0 G's on a roller coaster longer than these people were. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could go to Cedar Point and be more 0 G's than these people.
Oh, Jeff Bezos face planting as he ran up to the ship. Did you see that?
I wish he would have twisted his neck and died. Like, for
God
real.
Like, God pushed you, Jeffrey Bezos.
Yeah. How about when he had his neck all the way up in the thing and like, P.S. like this is fair that we're destroying these people because this entire spectacle was for publicity. And so this is the publicity they're getting, by the way. When he had his
there's no better symbol for eat the rich than this. It's nuts.
Yeah, period.
It's nuts. His penis.
And like, I'm not fucking with P.S. I'm not fucking with any of these people after this.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm like, Gail is on my fucking shit list. Sorry to say. Oprah's on my shit. Like, no, I don't like this.
Okay. We need to take a breath here because if Chris DeRosa is saying that Oprah Winfrey is on his shit list, these could be the end times.
This is dire times.
This is not a joke.
No, but
this
I don't
is like me
I'm
putting
really
Cher on a watch list. Like, this is big.
Like, I don't pay dust to any of these other people, but like Oprah and Gail, like, you're better than this. Like, of course, Kris Jenner was there fucking suckling on the teat. Of course, Khloe was there looking like a monster. Like, they were looking like Michael Jackson's Ghosts 1 and 2. Like, but Oprah and Gail, you're better than this.
They really did feed into it. They've been swallowed up. They're billionaires. I mean, it's a thing.
No,
when you
right.
become a billionaire.
You're right.
If I live in any other country but the United States, and I know what the United States is doing to other countries, like their foreign policy, the deep, like if I know things are chaotic
in their own country, everyone, the stock market is in like literally exploding in front of us. Yeah.
And I look and see that this is what our nation is rallied round. If I'm in another country, I'm thinking to myself, the United States is an insane asylum. Yeah. It is literally
It is
a bunch of bonkers people.
I have nothing to refute that. At all.
And then here we are 11 minutes in, and we'll probably talk about this for another 111.
I'm nowhere near done, Dominic.
I want to
nowhere near done.
Did you see that Kesha? So apparently Wendy's yesterday tweeted something about Katy Perry, like, could you leave her up there? Wendy's, the fast food chain. So Kesha then several hours later Instas a photo of her smiling and drinking an iced coffee.
No, I'm dead.
From Wendy's.
I'm dead. I am dead. I'm dead. Goodbye. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know that Hassan met Kesha like 2 days ago.
Wait, will you tell me about this? It was on the group chat.
He was at like a gala thing that he was running the silent auction, which he was like, LOL that they put me, the loudest person in the room at the
For those of you who don't know Chris's partner, wherever he is now, he's talking. I promise you that.
He was like, this was a mistake. But he ran into Kesha there and he was talking to her. And he said she was lovely.
Did they drink? Did they fuck?
He said she was lovely. No, he said she was lovely and she was.
I bet she was.
And then, like, as people were realizing it was her, she was then being like mobbed. Like, it was a full mob scene. Like, there was like a line out the door to just like speak, like be in her presence. But he said she was great and she was so nice. But that's hilarious that she was drinking that Wendy's drink.
Like across the board shade.
Like full companies are like, leave Katy Perry up in Spain.
Yeah. $1 billion this cost. $1 billion. Do you want to? I can't even tell you what I could do with $1 billion.
And again, it was
I could have 1 million people live for the rest of their lives and not have to work too hard.
And this is the other thing. Even if they were like, okay, we're going to like do some experiment there. I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's like 17 million things that would make this better, but it truly was just for publicity. And we all were, of course, we were there, eyes peeled, ready to go.
And we're still doing it. And we know that we're doing it, but we have no choice. We can't let these things happen.
Did you see that Olivia Wilde was like, I'm so glad that they spent $1 million to like make a bunch of memes. And I was like, that's essentially what it was.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Are the memes incredible? Yes. Oh my God.
They all came down and they're like, we saw the moon. Look at the moon. We saw the moon. I'm like, girl, I could see the moon.
I see the moon every day.
You didn't have to go all the way up there to do it. Also, you're just 62 miles above the earth and the moon's like thousands of miles from here. You didn't get a better view of it.
No, like at all.
Like I could just say, hey, Siri, show me a photo of the moon. And that's what you saw. And I didn't have to leave my house.
No. Or like
And
risk my life.
No money.
Or think that it might be my last day on this planet.
Gail was really shitting her pants.
No,
there for a moment.
wouldn't it be terrifying? Because at the end of the day, she's like, this could explode. And people do want to shoot this out of the air because of the people that I'm on here with.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
However, speaking of science experiments, I must say that Lauren Sanchez did not emerge from that little capsule looking like Picasso. Like a Picasso.
No, she did not.
You know?
But I did in my own head. There were a million live cameras while it was happening, except I could not find one in the capsule.
That's
while it was happening. So I didn't know if it was because in case something did happen,
that we didn't see their final moments of like them like being incinerated to dust. Yeah.
Or because all of the world scientists were genuinely concerned about what Lauren Sanchez's face would do at 0 G's.
When she's coming back to Earth, then it's like more, you know what I mean? Then it's like exponential G force. And then her like face is separating and becoming like the Cloverfield monster for 2 seconds.
I mean, I would have died if they got to 0 G's and you just hear Gail King going, Lauren, no, your face, Oprah. And then it just went silent.
Oh, God. And again, like they're asking us to do this right now. And our friend and our pod mother, Kate Casey, was like, why wouldn't you fill this rocket full of actual real female aerospace people that like deserve to go here? Instead, It's like Katy Perry, Gail, and fucking Lauren.
Yeah. Like the descendants of the women from Hidden Figures or something like that. Like something actually historic.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. Apparently they're open for business, so you could just
we can all go
on this like going into a 7-Eleven now.
My old roommate Kristen was texting me and I put it on my story. She was like, I was like, you are aware that this is all for like just to like we can now do this if we have enough money. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? And she went onto the website and it was like, become an astronaut. And she sent me the screenshot and she said, it was like, book your seat to space. And she goes, window or aisle. And I was like, I want to die.
That capsule's too small, though. Realistically, I'm not getting into space that small and going in the air. If I have to go somewhere remote and the only option is like a 7-hour truck ride or a 1-hour teeny tiny plane ride, I take the truck.
Yeah,
usually.
I had to go in that plane in St. Bart's where it like lands like vertical onto the thing. And I am so glad that I was turned around filming The Real Housewives, because if I would have been watching, they were screaming bloody murder. I still have the video on my fucking phone. It aired on TV. They were screaming bloody murder. And they thought we were going to die. Like legitimately, like when we got out, they kissed the ground. They were like, thank Christ that we didn't die in this plane.
The more seats on a plane,
and that happens every day. That's, that's going every single day. You know what I mean? Like that little plane that they had to land.
Can you imagine? I mean, you just get used to it like anything.
Yeah. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like, that was scary, let alone we're in space in Jeff Bezos' penis.
Right, with Katy Perry. Can you imagine what's a fate worse than
That's
death?
a horror.
I would probably just jump off the landing before getting in the thing. Be like, I no, which is what Gail wanted to do. She wanted to jump off the side when she rang that bell.
How do we mitigate this from happening again? That's my question.
I don't think we have a choice.
I don't think we do either.
No, the rich
because
are
we're
going
forced
to
to speak
richer.
about it when they're this bonkers and doing stunts. We are forced. It forces our hand to speak about it, because now this is exactly what they want, because I've now given them an ad, even though we've ripped them apart. I'm like, go to blueorigin.com and book your seat to space, blah, blah, blah. And so
we're done. The apocalypse already started. This is just like a jubilee for it.
Okay.
The rich will keep getting richer. You'll be there with your silent auctioneer. I'll be here with my dynasty dolls. And it'll just be it. We'll be here every week until they cancel us, I guess.
I can't believe you fooled me with whenever you took your mic off and you were talking into that mason jar.
I rehearsed that stoned all day yesterday. I got nothing done. I'm walking around my house screaming into jar going, Christopher! And I'm like, he's going to kill me when I do this. All right, let's move on. There is some other bonkers fucking shit to talk about this week. The first of which is The Bodyguard 2 is really going to happen. It's really actually going to happen.
How do you feel about that?
I don't feel good about it.
No.
I don't. just leave it. There's so many things about that move. First of all, it's Whitney, who's, an all-time fave, best-selling female artist, best-selling soundtrack of all time. Why set yourself up against that?
There's no way.
Let it live.
Yeah.
Let it live. Even if you're going to do I don't know, do some sort of sequel, but this appears to be a remake. They're calling it a remake.
Oh, no.
And antenna are up because the person directing it is a guy by the name of Sam Wrench, who is the director of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. So now everyone is thinking, ruh-roh, to quote both Scooby-Doo, Felicity Huffman, and Chris
and myself.
that Taylor Swift is the front runner to play Rachel Marin in the remake.
Oh, no. I mean, we would all go see it if that was the case. I'm not going to lie.
We watched the Blue Origin thing. We'll do whatever.
Yeah,
yes,
you're right.
We'll bitch about it, but we'll show up.
Tiana Lee, friend of the pod, multiple time winner of this show.
That is true. She's the only guest who's won more, but won every time she's been on. She's beaten us. Yes.
She was like, I will do everything in my power to make this not happen. She was like putting on her Instagram story. She's like, this is my life's work now, is to railroad this movie.
Probably get it done. Yeah. I believe she could stall it.
She's powerful. Anyway, I don't love it. No one loves it. Why?
I don't know. You're not going to capture the magic. I don't want to see this story told in 2025.
No,
I like seeing it told in the 90s when there were no cell phones, and I just don't do it. Please.
Or make it be in the 90s. You know what I mean? That's the other thing is we keep saying is like,
please don't make me go see this, because you know that we will. Please. All right, from bonkers to bonkers, so much has happened with JoJo Siwa and Mickey Rourke since we last recorded. I
haven't even had time to tune into the first part of it, and then oh my God.
So we've been talking about JoJo so much recently because this thing about her VIP package includes setting up the stage, which many people have reached out on TikTok lambasting us, saying it wasn't true. They just meant they can just sort of help, I don't know, cut the bagels
didn't I
or whatever.
say that too? I said that. Why are you yelling at us? Anyway.
I don't know. I like when people yell at me. That's like a kink.
Yeah.
She goes into the Big Brother house in UK. We find out last week. Now this week, in just a matter of days, first Mickey Rourke, who's also in the house, gets reprimanded for saying homophobic things to JoJo Siwa.
P.S. What a surprise.
I mean,
this is
that's why you get him there.
That's why you put him on the show. No, yes. Hello?
And then 100%. And then a few days later, he's booted entirely because he was cursing at someone. He made someone uncomfortable. He got aggressive during one of the challenges. He called someone the C word, and not in the fun British way, as they say. So it's, he's out and he's apologetic. He's like, I'm still, I feel bad about it. I don't have cruel intentions. But then he said something that really struck me. And he said, I'm just a work in progress. Mickey Rourke.
His face is a work in progress.
You are 72 years old. Construction's been done on this project for many, many decades.
Physically, it's been done.
You're not a work in anything. You're a decaying, decrepit structure. You're not a work in progress.
Speaking of fillers in space, botched, get him on the line, because
Too much.
When I would see it on Instagram of Mickey Rourke being booted from the Big Brother house and the screenshots of his face, yowza.
I've seen him several times on the streets of the West Village. He is truly an imposing figure.
Presence.
He's like a pit bull. When he's coming at me on the sidewalk, I cross. I'm not even
he looks
tempting.
like Dog the Bounty Hunter. He looks like a pit bull.
Yeah. And we will say this, though, some positive thoughts. As we said, I think we said this on the podcast, or we talked about it online a little bit. JoJo Siwa smelling like a rose through this entire situation. She looked vulnerable. She cried. And I'll be totally sincere here. You got to see someone young who has just come out face bullshit that almost every queer person has to face at some point. You're just like, why are you being mean to me for no reason, for something I can't help? And we got to see... We've seen her the past 3 years as a kid trying very hard to act like an adult. And in the house, we got to see someone in the process of maturing. And I have to say, I'm not going to go full team JoJo. I don't want to be disingenuous, but she showed us a side of herself that I'm sure her team back home was thanking Mickey Rourke for being an asshole, because we just got to see a little breaking the armor with her, and it's great. And she
It's
also, by the
refreshing.
way, looks beautiful in the house. If I do say, she's makeup free and like very like casual, not
Yeah, like
doing
off her,
that stupid
off her
thing.
bullshit.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes. And it's not, she's off her bullshit. You said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she looks great. So
Yeah. Also, I mean, I have so many Mickey Rourke jokes. I like they're all in my head at one time. It's just like so insane that they're like, this will work out. Like, it's like, no, like, why are you doing this?
No. It's like you're in a casting office. You're like, who's someone that we know will get us publicity the first week and also get booted?
And we
Is
can
Charlie
train them
Sheen
like,
available?
Yeah,
No.
no,
Is
yeah.
Sean Penn around? No. Give me Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Give me Mickey Rourke right away.
Also, JoJo C was probably like, why is like the end of the substance screaming at me right now? Like, what is happening?
Honest to God. He looks worse than that. Coachella began last week. Did you see any of Gaga's set?
I saw what I could, and oh my God, she's back.
Oh my God. I mean, we knew she was back already, but this is like, this upcoming tour is going to be monstrous. And
I know. I wish I had
It's
the
gonna
money
be
to buy
everything.
tickets for it. The tickets were astronomical.
Yeah, I don't have tickets either.
I'm
so,
furious.
yeah.
I'm so
It's,
mad. I'm
but these clips
hoping
are
I can
great.
find tickets randomly on a day. You know what I mean? When someone like last minute is like, I need to sell my tickets for like $100. And I'm gonna be like, okay. But like, even if you go on right now, they're all sold out. It's resale. And when I tell you like the cheapest one is like $400 a ticket.
Yeah.
Which is
Do you have
insane.
Beyonce tickets? Do you have
Yes.
Cowboy Carter tickets?
Yes. And I have
When are
no
you going?
idea how much money was spent on them. And I'm going to keep it that way.
A friend bought me a ticket. I don't know if I can go because it's Memorial Day weekend. It's at MetLife, I guess, that the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
And I asked him how much it was, and he said it was so much money. He's not telling me how much money it was. He's just giving it to me as a gift because he's embarrassed.
Because it's like, so,
How much
yeah.
money they spent.
Which like shouldn't be the case at all.
No.
I also saw T-Pain's Coachella performance. And when I tell you, I'm sorry, we might need to not fix him because he doesn't need it, but like just give a love letter to T-Pain, because when I tell you every single song that he went to go sing, because he's on every person's song. So his catalog is
Right.
like every song we liked in 2009.
It includes every artist.
From
we love,
2006 to 2015, basically every good song that was on the radio. And so when he started singing a song, I knew every single word to every single song. Like Buy You a Drink, I'm in Love with a Stripper, great song.
You know, I guess if you sit down and think about every song he's on, it is quite a catalog of duets.
Every song.
He should go on an arena tour with an AI hologram that just changes.
It just
artists
changes to whoever the
song.
other person
Yeah.
is on the song, legitimately. And I'd pay $400 for that.
Maybe we should do a couple of episodes either on the free feed or Patreon where we just call them love letters, where we actually, instead of us trying to fix people all the time, maybe we just gush. I know we talk about the Invincibles,
But that's
maybe
different.
there's someone in between the Invincibles and the Fixables who were like, let's talk good about people who are like doing it right.
Like Missy Elliott would be one of those people on that list. T-Pain would be one of those people on that list.
Well, speaking of people who are doing it right, Charlie XCX, of whom we are giant fans at this podcast, she performed at Coachella and then at the after party was very shadily wearing a sash that read Miss Should Be Headliner, because Green Day was the headliner on the night she performed. And old girl thinks that she should have been the headliner. There's an argument there, but at least she didn't.
Don't do this.
I know.
She also brought out
felt like
like
it was a
9
little
million
beneath her.
celebrities. At the end, of course, you know, Hassan was like lining up to the TV to watch it live. So we watched it live from YouTube. And it was good. I mean, she did a lot of good songs. She sang track 13, which is like one of her best songs ever. She sang like she did a few old songs that were great. But at the end of it, she had all this graphics that was like, I want to live in this moment forever. And basically being like, this success that I've like fought so hard for forever is finally happened. And she's like, and I know it's going away now because my album is over. And she's like, Brat Summer is over. Like, what do I do? And like, it was very earnest. And I actually really liked it because she was very much like, I want this to keep going, but I know that it's like fading.
Right.
And so like, what's next? And so I wonder if the sash was motivated by her being like, will I ever be back here in the capacity that I am right now? You know,
maybe, because honestly, that's first of all, the last album was so good even if you didn't, if you're in the minority of people that didn't like it artistically.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one. It's not my favorite one of hers, by the way. But,
sure. No, and a lot of like super fans of hers feel the same way, but this one was such a home run.
Yeah.
that it's definitely hard to follow. It's definitely like, this is sort of her Rhythm Nation. Like, what are you going to do next? Because this might not be, and look, Rhythm Nation's great. There are some earlier works of Janet's that elderly people like myself find better than Rhythm Nation, but Rhythm Nation was the home run. And what do you do after? You know, so she's definitely got her work cut out.
But she could go back to like what she used to do and like really give us a good version of that. Like do what Lady Gaga's doing right now. And then like all these fans that didn't exist before would be like, wow, she's a good singer.
She needs more time though, because she's been around for a while, but to people like me and most people, actually, she's quote unquote a new artist.
Yeah.
You know, like
which
she's
is
not
insane to think about.
Yeah. Speaking of people coming back, and we'll get off Coachella, but if you have a chance to Google what Paris Hilton wore to Coachella, wow.
I do.
Wowie, wow. It was like
I did not see this.
I can't fault her. I can't. She looked.
Whoa.
I mean,
whoa.
There's more skin than fabric. I encourage you all to Google Paris Hilton Coachella. She to me was the star of the weekend, just showing up looking like that.
I'm sorry
that's
to
someone
say.
who does it. That's someone who's in a comeback every time she leaves the fucking house these days. She looks better than ever. Really does.
I mean, I'm sorry to say, I've seen her in way less clothing than this, which is like its own problem.
Sex tapes aside, yes.
I'm like, this is like, no, not even that. But like, I'm like, this is like covered up for her. I'm like, this is like tasteful. I mean, she looks great. I love these like weird alien sunglasses. I mean, she's doing the whole thing right. Wow.
All right.
The chains on the boobs, like the cat suit, the like, yeah.
Keep bathing in that positivity. Well, I don't know if you saw the email I sent this morning, but hot off the press, I know this is going to upset you. Cate Blanchett says that she's going to be retiring from acting.
No, Dominic, don't do this to me.
It's not me who's doing it.
Why? No, I'm actually really, this is not a joke. I'm actually really upset right now. Wait, why? I'm so sad.
Because she said it was always the plan. She's like, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
I've conquered it all. I won 2 Oscars. And what she refers to as, she said, I always said when I was done with acting, I would get a proper grown-up job. We don't know yet what that is, but I don't know.
Oh,
maybe she'll like run a theater in Australia. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah.
I mean, she's not going to work at a Rite Aid. We know this, but I don't know where she'll channel her energies.
Not work at a Rite Aid. This is devastating in every way possible. I love her so much.
I know you do.
She's such a good actor. Ugh. God. When she plays Galadriel in the Lord. Okay, now you've opened this door, so let me do this for 2 minutes.
This really is a Pandora's box. Please
when she plays Galadriel in Lord of the Rings, and she is the first voice that you hear opening, and she narrates the beginning, which is like what happens like 15 million years ago when like the ring comes to fruition and why we're in the predicament that we're in. That to open the entire saga of Lord of the Rings. There's never been a voiceover better in the history of cinema, period.
There's never been a better voice.
There's never been a better voice. And when she, in the Fellowship of the Ring, looks at them and says to Frodo, your quest stands upon the edge of a knife. Stray but a little and it will fail. I gave myself chills doing this.
Wow.
And then only to be eclipsed when she's in Carol and she's like trying to like sexually harass what's her name Rooney Mara. Like it is harassment like and sexual assault basically. But when she is at lunch with Rooney Mara and Rooney Mara's sitting there like being weird and like eating her little eggs, her eggs Florentine, and she looks over the counter at her and she goes, what an odd little person you are. We will never have anyone like her ever again.
No. See, but you know what? If someone's gonna retire, let her do it.
Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore left at the peak of her show. Maybe Cate Blanchett's doing the same. It's just like, what more can I do, really?
I want her to pull a Cher and be like, I'm retiring, and then like be in like 17 movies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like this next year is just like business as usual. She's like, oh, I'm starring in 4 things this year. And then she's like, guys, I'm done, I promise. And then it's just like nominated for another Oscar, like in Tar 2. You know what I mean? Like she's just
Tar 2, where she's where did Tar end in Bangkok? Or
she's like
shooting. She was teaching in Thailand, right?
Her entire career is in shambles.
Her character's working in a Rite Aid in Thailand. All right, we must move on. This God. White Lotus feud between Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood. Are you aware of this?
I have seen that it's a headline, but I have no idea why they're in a feud. What happened?
We don't know why there was a feud. Okay, but the jury is out. Apparently, they've unfollowed each other on Instagram, And if you don't know who I'm talking about, Amy Lou Wood was the one from White Lotus with the teeth. I mean, we're allowed to say that, right? She had that rather unusual smile.
And you saw that they did a parody on SNL.
Well, here's where we go. This is how the feud expands, because SNL does this magical send up of White Lotus where all the characters are actually US politicians, except for Amy Lou Wood's character, Chelsea, who they just have Sarah Sherman playing her. She's the only person whose White Lotus character isn't a politician. And she's just a set of buck teeth, whining about something. Amy Lou Wood goes to the socials and she's like, this was mean and unfunny. And I normally like SNL, but whatever. Walton Goggins reposts the send up on his Instagram and just writes, smashing. He loved it. SNL has apparently apologized to Amy Lou Wood. Sarah Sherman has not said anything, but the way that this unfolded is sort of like more eyes are on these two. And the show's over anyway, and they'll never see each other again, probably. Jason Isaacs, who his character was portrayed by Donald Trump in the SNL short film. He's the only real cast member who's come forward and said, yeah, there were some shouting matches, but that happens on a set between the two of them. He didn't give it too much play, but they were there for like 8 months or something, right? Shooting this series. So
and for what? Like, I don't know.
Do you think you and I would start shouting at each other for real if we were to trap together somewhere for 8 months?
I mean,
probably,
we do,
right?
Like for real. Yeah. I mean, like probably.
Have we ever had an actual argument?
No. I remember the only time that I even thought that maybe we did have one is when we were after 4th of July, when we were 17 million sheets to the wind. Like,
right.
We were all like in the living room. We were like, oh my God, last night, like, why did we drink so much? And you went, okay, so we're all still speaking, right?
Yeah, have to check it.
And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, I just don't know. I just don't remember us coming home. So like anything could have happened.
I'm so glad we're talking about this because there's a new, I try not to drink too much, but I occasionally do. And when I wake up the following morning, I, of course, go to who did I text? Who did I call?
Sure.
I'll call the people I was with and say, just making sure we have all the details together. Now, because I am, sort of involved with someone with whom English is not the first language, we will occasionally use Google Translate, which is now another app I have to go to see what nonsense I was translating to him. It's a whole other app now that I have to put in my repertoire, so I'm not drinking anymore. That's
okay.
It. Until Friday at the
well, that'll work. Yeah, let's see how long that lasts.
Speaking of which, now Chris has been working on something top secret, which he'll reveal in a couple of weeks on this podcast. But I have still been at the duplex every Friday, and the listeners know we're there. And each Friday for the past handful of Fridays, a listener from across the world has come in. 2 weeks ago, a woman named Fran tapped me on the shoulder and just said, I'm visiting from Seattle. I came to this bar to see if you and Chris are here. I won't take up too much of your time. And I just sit there with my mouth open and I'm like, is this real? Of course. She's like, do you mind if I take a picture? I'm like, do I mind? It's why I wear Revlon colors today. Are you like, kidding me?
Everyone,
whip
this person.
Please.
You're trying to rip the microphone. You're trying to rip the microphone out of the hands of like the piano player. And you're like, everyone.
But then this woman says, my sister is actually the even bigger fan of yours. Can we FaceTime her? And we did. And her name is Lulu. And she owns a bakery in Seattle, which I want to get permission to promote from her. And we FaceTime with her. And this woman starts crying. When I'm like, it's usually men who burst into tears when I FaceTime them, not women. And it was lovely. And then this past Friday, I was standing under the scaffolding in the rain and I saw a woman and her gay trying to get their shit together, taking a selfie, but she was having a sneezing fit and they'd been drinking. And I looked at them and
Sounds like you and me, by the way. Sounds like us.
Totally. Yeah. But I'm not normally like I'm not usually the first person to greet a stranger, but I'd had a few in me and I looked at them and I was like, do you guys want to get your shit together and I'll take this picture for you?
You were being a good Samaritan.
She looks at me and says, oh my God, are you Dominick from Fixing Famous People? She said, I've been upstairs at this bar, nervous to go downstairs and look for you. And my friend just said, why don't you go look for him? And I'm looking at her. I'm like, well, now that you've seen me in person, all 5'4" of me, are you a little less intimidated that you didn't go on the hunt? What did you think you were going to see? And we kikied and she loved this podcast. I'll be there Friday briefly on Good Friday. if any of you from across the country want to come down and
I can't believe that's
ogle
it's
us.
like it doesn't make it
It doesn't make sense. No,
it doesn't make sense at all. Because meanwhile, it's me and you like sitting at the bar being stupid with like Dan and like Seamus and like all the usuals. Like Hassan's there, like we're blabbing away about not like that's just us like casually.
It's this.
This is becoming like a pilgrimage for these people. It's crazy. This is crazy.
We need to hit a few more hard ones. Yeah, thank you all. Really, like please come up to us and we'll let you know when we're going to be there. I will be there this Friday. Chris will not.
I'm actually off this Friday for a little bit, but this Friday I am doing a live show with one of our podcast mothers, Chelsea Devontes, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We will be talking about Lauren Sanchez. We will be talking about Meghan, Duchess of Schmuckers, and we will be talking about Blake Lively. So head over to our Patreon, our Instagram, and also Chelsea's Instagram, which I'll be putting up online soon, the posts about advertising this live show that we're doing together.
Before we hit a few big stories here, a couple of things that we have coming up. Today, of course, we will be fixing Gwen Stefani. And then in the weeks after, it's very much like an early 20th century La Palooza. Like we will be fixing Rachel Zoe with Mary Payne. We will be fixing Catherine McPhee. And then we will have the annual Mess Gala recap coming up the Wednesday after the first Monday of May. And then by popular demand, Leanne Rimes will be getting fixed by this podcast. And please also check out our Patreon. We have a full hour with, we have more material from Bruce Valanche for the Bruce Valanche material. And we have some real fun stuff coming up with the featuring famous people specials that we do, which we'll talk to you about in the coming weeks. And yes, we will be fixing Rosie O'Donnell. That's also another popular one. We're huge fans of hers, by the way. We want to make that clear. We'll be fixing her sometime in May. On the a la carte today, we're going to be talking about the official cast for the Harry Potter HBO series being announced and how troubled we all are that we know we're going to watch it, even though we fucking hate J.K. Rowling. How are we going to get around this? How are we going to get around this? And I can't wait to hear your take on the a la carte because I know you're a huge fan of this film. But Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is going to be a new television series on Amazon.
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous.
Mariska Hargitay, by the way, I think many people know that she is the daughter of the late sex symbol Jane Mansfield. Mariska, who we love, is directing a documentary about her mother, which I am anxious to see. I love when Mariska does anything other than SVU, just so I can be assured of how talented she is.
Do you remember the movie, the Mike Myers movie, The Love Guru, where he would say Mariska Hargitay to all the people instead of like Namaste? And then she's in it at one point and he goes, Mariska Hargitay. And then he looks and it's her and he goes, Mariska Hargitay. We must also issue not a retraction, but an update.
Okay.
A listener did reach out to us. She sent us her emails and pictures of the jam.
Yes.
We must say that there was at least one jar of jam that was available to be bought on the internet, much to my great chagrin that I'm saying this, that a plebeian like me or you listening could buy because someone came forward and they said, I got the jam. Here's the tracking information. And here's like all the stops it made along the way to my house. Here's the email here's a picture of it, blah, blah. And she said that it was good. So technically she did sell it to the public. So I have to
everyone
give it to
but
her.
us, basically, is who's getting it. Like everyone but, and I will say this, many people did receive their jam. A lot of sites have had their staffs do full taste tests and almost universally everyone says it's too thin and it's too sweet. Those are the two big headlines of the spread because it's not actually jam; it's fruit spread.
Yeah, so, fruit spread.
Apparently, spread too thin. But
will
this stop? Will it stop the empire? Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. She's going to be the next. She's the next Paula Deen. That's what I'm referring to her. Now.
Don't even say that.
Should we leave I feel like we shouldn't leave the free feed without talking about two people in particular that we haven't spoken about in a while.
Quickly.
Jennifer Lopez has returned to Hoboken, has been photographed stalking Chris DeRosa and eating a giant burrito directly outside of his apartment.
Also, where is that Where is that car? Because that burrito looked good.
I don't know. That burrito looked good. She's filming the upcoming rom-com. I think it's called Office Romance. And I can't remember what streaming service it's on.
With the hot Brett Goldstein.
But she's back. She's back in Hoboken, which is a very short path train away from the duplex. So we're here. We're telling you what Fridays we're there. Show up on time this time. Be a woman.
Jennifer.
Be a woman, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper. Camera operator Bradley Cooper.
How dare you do this at the end of this to put me in a full rage? How dare you? I'm mad at you now. This is our fight that we were talking about.
Bradley Cooper photographed behind the camera in Midtown shooting this movie with Laura Dern and Will Arnett, because he's not just writing it. He's not just directing it. He's now taking jobs from people
from people below the line. From people below the line. I am furious. That picture of him with the camera on his shoulder, how fucking dare he? He is a menace to society, period.
So they're shooting. They've been in Midtown, but they've also been in Douglaston, Queens, shooting for a couple of weeks. And apparently the neighborhood feels about Bradley Cooper the way that you feel about Bradley Cooper.
No,
oh, they're furious. They're like, movies shoot in Douglaston all the time because it's a pretty tree-lined neighborhood of Queens.
Yeah, sure.
But all the residents are like, we've never had like swaths of blocks shut down where we're asking people for permission to get to our homes. This has never happened to us before. And Bradley
he's probably like, I need to do like a running backtracking shot where I'm like, he's doing so many stunts with that camera. You know it. The cinematography of this movie is going to be the most bonkers thing you've ever seen in your life. It's going to make Avatar 2 look like Citizen Kane.
Do you think that when people are trying to get to their homes and they approach a production assistant and they're like, can I get to my house? Do you think the PAs look at them and say, can you just give us a minute? This is a first-time camera operator and he's fucking insane.
And he's like rappelling from a tree, like in their yard, being like, with like swinging the camera and being like, Laura, go, action. Like it's,
hello, I'm a camera operator.
I want to murder. I hate him so. The hatred just grows every day for him.
And we're going to end on that positive note. We started with Muppets in Space, and now we have this cameraman Muppet. Hello, I'm a camera Muppet. That made no sense. A la carte's coming up. We're going to talk about a stage musical about the band TLC, and Tom Cruise has a new girlfriend. Ooh,
dear God.
And then we'll fix Gwen Stefani. It's not Shelley. Oh, where's Shelley?
Where is she? That's all. I can't wait. And we have our, friend of the pod, award winner, Deanna M. Cheng with us.
That's right.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
She's royalty.
She's royalty.
This is a jubilee,
this podcast.
not a broadcast today. It's
sure.
A jubilee.
Sure. Miss Deanna M. Cheng. Here she is. She's back.
You guys. You know what?
Winner of the first ever Fixie Award of Best Episode of the Year.
Correct. An award-winning podcaster is what she is.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't want to have to say it myself, so thank you, Dominick.
You're certainly welcome.
Because I was like, I'd love for someone to remember.
Give the accolade that you have.
The queen is here. Yes.
Yeah, just give me that because it's something I hold dear, quite frankly.
Well, speaking of queens, I mean, today we are here to talk about someone who I feel once was a queen and now whose crown is tarnished.
She's ruining it.
Inexplicably.
All right.
So now here we are, from one queen to another, from one delusional queen to another.
Yeah, correct.
Gwen Stefani. Let's just do this middle name game. I'm anxious to see what you all... Does anyone know her middle name? Either of you? All right. Gwen Stefani Shelton. She was born October 3rd, 1969 in Fullerton, California. She is 55. She's a fucking Libra.
most unbalanced Libra I think I've probably encountered.
Sure. Is Stefani her real last name?
That's a great question.
Excellent question, Chris. I normally volunteer this information, but I don't know where my head is at today. I actually do know where it is.
Well, I do.
My keister.
Yeah.
Yes, by all accounts, Gwen
keister.
Stefani is that is her biological.
I mean, sure. Her biological.
That's her actual name. Gwen Stefani's her real
government.
Name. Yep. Her government name. Yes.
Gwen. Lynn is coming to me, but I don't think it's Lynn. Gwen. It's going to be something really crazy. Gwen Rosalind.
Wow.
Stefani. That's my guess.
Rosalind. Is there a Catholic person named Rosalind? Do you know what I mean? I feel like
people don't follow that rule that often, I don't think.
Okay.
Does it have to be?
But I feel like Rosalind's more of a Jewish name. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm taking it back. So this is where my head's going. 60s California girl, came up in that time. Gwen is spunky. That's a fun name. I'm going to go with something weird and say Gwen Katie Stefani.
Oh,
interesting.
I don't know.
Well, you are both incorrect.
Okay.
I'm sure I would have leapt out of my chair if either of you had guessed it. But what I think is interesting about this middle name, and we're going to talk about like Gwen Stefani, is now, in retrospect, we look at her appropriating Asian culture. It's sort of like this thing that she's known for. Her middle name is Mulan. Is that unbelievable?
That's not real.
It is not real. Her middle name is Renee, but I really wanted you to believe that her name was Gwen
Mulan. Dominic.
Oh, man.
It's Renee. It's Gwen Renee Stefani. Shelton.
Hassan texted me and said it's Celine's late lover. It's
so stupid. Wait, so he's in the other room texting you hints?
He just saw he texted me that, but it was after I guessed already. And I said Rosalind. And when I was saying Rosalind, he was shaking his head at me as he was walking out the door. He was like, absolutely not.
Where to begin with Gwen Renee?
Gwen
call her Gwenay for the rest of
I was almost going to guess Dolan as her middle name because it would be Dolan because it would be Gwendolyn because it would be Where to start? I mean, no doubt is a cultural phenomenon.
Yes.
We all know her. I mean, obviously, we can just go through the hits. I feel like Spiderwebs is one that everyone is like a one that's less famous that everyone's obsessed with. Obviously, It's My Life. This is later in their, in their run, but like It's My Life was a humongous hit whenever I was in high school.
Mm-hmm. Just a Girl, Don't
Speak. What's the I'm a
Hey Baby
and I'ma keep on dancing. Remember that song? Yeah. Hey Baby, great song.
Hey Baby's a great song.
Yeah. I mean, albums upon albums upon albums of incredible hits. They're a humongous punk band. They're in that wave of like
ska,
yeah.
And then she goes on an incredibly well-received solo career beginning in 2004 with Love Angel Music Baby.
That's where we start. That's where we that's where we start to hit some bumps in the road.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because her solo career was pretty hot in the beginning. I mean, she was like,
oh yeah,
that album spawned a lot of singles.
Holla Back
What
Girl.
You Waiting For? Rich Girl, Holla Back Girl.
Where did BANANAA come in?
That's Holla Back Girl.
That's Holla Back Girl. Sorry.
Yeah, that's big. And that was like before iTunes and after like Napster and LimeWire, where like I didn't have any way to illegally buy that song. But then it was like iTunes barely existed. Like no one had an iPod really.
Okay.
And like I remember desperately wanting to hear it on the radio because we were in that middle ground of like, I wasn't going to get another like torrent site that was going to like give my computer a virus. But then I wanted to, you know what I mean? It was like,
wow, you were really in a limbo.
I was in a limbo and I didn't want to buy it. And the CD hadn't come out yet.
Wow.
So like, what was I going to do? You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
And I'm driving around in my 1996 Honda Civic, 2-door white Honda Civic with 300,000 miles on it. My favorite car I've ever had in my entire life. It was a piece of junk and I loved it. And I remember being like, I need to hear Holla Back Girl. Because obviously as a 16-year-old at the time, you know that I was like absolutely obsessed with that song.
Homo.
Yes, correct.
By the way, before we get too far away from her names, I would like you to know that Gwen was named after a stewardess in the 1968 novel Airport.
Hot.
Which later became a thrilling disaster film.
Come again?
I'm telling you, she was named after a stewardess in the novel Airport. And the middle name Renee comes from the song Walk Away Renee.
Her parents were having fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they were obviously stoned. Good for them.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, so Love Angel Music Baby. I'm trying to look at all the songs. Okay, what are you waiting for? Rich Girl. Oh, If I Was a Rich... Yeah, this is when she started to get into like...
Harajuku.
The Harajuku girls.
Cool. Remember
I
Cool?
loved Cool.
I still love Cool.
Loved.
Great song. Crash, the one about how she's getting in a car accident. I mean, it was a big deal. She was on her own. She then had the Harajuku girls. It was, okay, here's what I'll say about it. Love Angel Music Baby was like the beginning of an era of like stunts.
Okay.
We're past Britney Spears. We're past the pop star in a world, and it's kind of band-centric. She then comes back with, I'm going to be a stunt queen. When she was like, this is like the end of TRL, right? This is like right before social media exists. And so it's like she's showing up everywhere with the Harajuku girls, who are like 4 seemingly Japanese girls. Who God only knows where she found these people. But like these 4 Japanese girls that were representing Harajuku culture or like kawaii culture, that is this alt culture in Japan that is like very cosplay, very anime, very... And this is before like social media where we could like just follow the Harajuku girls and like they would be huge influencer stars. They were like given a platform by her, but kind of not, because didn't she give a gag order? Weren't they like NDA'd to the hilt or something?
Oh shit. I didn't know she locked those girls down.
Did Gwen Stefani have a gag order on the Harajuku girls?
While you're firing that up, I will say she's a little older than me. And at that time, I can promise you what my stance would have been when that came out, which is like America's a melting pot. That's what we were taught, and like how white people were running around. You know, I'll speak for myself. Like, but that's what we were brought up with. It's a melting pot. We take from each other's cultures.
Sure.
That's how we are enriched. It leaves out, we steal and we don't take credit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We just take, give nothing back and act like it's ours. And so that's been a learning curve for me in terms of the indoctrination of melting pot, and that there's some nuance to it, which means like you can't just steal shit. And I feel like when it was a different time, we weren't really talking about appropriation full on at that time.
Well, it was also, there wasn't the internet in the capacity that there is now, where like we could just go find these girls in Harajuku. Like right now, if you go on Instagram and type in Harajuku, you can get a whole internet worth of people that are like in Harajuku, in that area of Japan where they go, in Tokyo, where they're like having a time and they're dressing up and they're doing everything. And you could just, that culture was not accessible to America unless you went there and saw it for yourself. And so we all kind of looked past it because it was like, look, she's introducing the world, which she did, you know what I mean? Introduced them to this culture of this alt, weird, like fantasy world that was happening in Japan, in Tokyo at the time. All this to say, should she in 2023 say like, I'm Japanese? No. You know what I mean? Like,
So you just mentioned a minute ago, did you really hear that these Harajuku girls were like NDA'd up the ass?
I was Googling it, and we don't have it in writing, but it was rumored that she sent like gag orders to the Harajuku girls. But again, that is simply a rumor. That's so allegedly. But like that was like, some people have said that to me before, and it being like they didn't have a good like the end of the relationship was not great.
Will this be the next explosive tell-all? Like, is this the ID Discovery or the Lifetime movie just called Harajuku, where these
where our 4 Harajuku girls named Maya Chino, Jennifer Kita, Rino Nakasone, and Mayuko Kitayama, who are Love, Angel Music, and Baby.
Oh, is that right?
She renamed them Love, Angel Music, and Baby.
I didn't know that they each were one name of that album.
Which is, again, bad. It's like, here's this person. Not only am I stealing their, like, what they represent, or at least like making them be this like Japanese, which PS, like when I was rattling those names off, not all of them sounded very Japanese, by the way. So like we could have some like, some mixing of Asian cultures and all just saying they're Harajuku girls, which I don't love. But they were her backup dancers. They were backup dancers.
When I said Mulan earlier, who is absolutely not Japanese, you mean the mixing of Asian cultures?
Yes,
sure.
Correct.
Also, some of their names, two of them actually sound like Starbucks drinks. So I don't think they're actually Japanese. We'll find out on a separate podcast. But they were definitely, as you're reading the names, I've never heard these before, ever.
Rino Nakasone is a celebrity, though.
In what way?
That just sounds
famous for.
It just sounds like a celebrity name.
Oh.
It also sounds Japanese.
That one does.
She does sound Japanese. She sounds like a news anchor, a Japanese news anchor.
I'm Rino Nakasone with the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, correct.
Gwen was definitely like, we're going to have to shorten those up. Let me see. But let's keep them like pretty Japanese. But we're just gonna let me noodle on this for a second, and then she was like, love.
She's getting more racist as we go on. She's like, my name's Rino Nakasone, and Gwen's like, no, we're gonna call you music.
And also, off of the back of this album, remember we get her celebrity clothing line called Lamb, Lamb, which was Love, Angel Music, Baby. Not to be confused with the Lambs, as in Mariah Carey's fans.
Right. Because they will come for you.
Yeah,
like,
correct.
I think if you hadn't said that, people would have left dead fish on our doorsteps.
Yeah, sure.
That would have been it.
Yeah.
So much happened at one time for her. When Love, Angel Music, Baby came out, the clothing line came out, a new era of veiled racism was ushered in for her. Thank you for that, Gwen. And also, she started acting and then didn't really... Remember, she was in The Aviator. She was in Martin Scorsese's The Aviator.
Dear God in heaven.
She played
I forgot
Harlow.
all about that.
Yeah. She played Jean Harlow. And I guess Scorsese's daughter was a huge No Doubt fan and had suggested her for the part. But
she does look like Jean. I mean, it's not a bad visual.
Yes, sure.
And I remember at the time, like gagging over like what great casting it was. And oh my God, is she going to be a triple threat? And then nothing really.
It felt exciting at the time in terms of fashion, and I felt like it did well for a while. Is that fair?
I want to say it did well, but it was like accessible. It wasn't like I'm doing this new, like really, I feel like it was like in random stores. You know what I mean? Like, remember when the Kardashians had their line at Sears back in the day?
I don't.
I barely remember.
Like way back in the day, like when we were still on Keeping Up. This is early days. Like, that was what I think it was. It was basically, I mean, it was definitely just like a rant. Like, these are happening every day to like random influencers. But like back then it was a force because it didn't happen every day, you know?
Gosh.
Here's the other thing is that speaking of the Harajuku girls, even in like 2014, people were like, Gwen Stefani should really apologize for like when she made these 4 Asian girls like be her entourage for no reason at all.
Right.
And like dressed up as them every day. And then even as recent as 2023, she was like defending it in a interview saying that she's like, I am Japanese, and like trying to make it be like a joke, or like she like kind of talks about like, if we can't share our cultures, like what is the point? And it's very just like, I don't want to apologize for doing this.
Wow. That again, when I said she can't, she's in the melting pot generation, where that was really, I'm sure she believes that. Like, the thing when you hit, like, Gwen has been famous worldwide for so long.
Sure.
The majority of my life.
And hers.
And hers. So when it's like she's in that bubble. I've listened to so many interviews. I love listening to Gwen. I can listen to Gwen forever just because your brain just starts to imagine that everything is divine. everything is from, she has always been with Jesus, but it's been different. It's been like, I'm a pop star. Everything's divine. I'm here in this moment because it was meant to be more of like the LA spirituality vibe.
Sure.
And I just
California. It's just very California.
As she is, and
she is California. I mean, she is California.
She is what we felt California was before I came out here. I'm like, Gwen is the vibe. She's so cool, relaxed, fun. And I just don't think, because you become so narcissistic, and she's like a good version of a narcissist, but she can't, everything is meant for her. Those Harajuku girls were meant for her in that moment. She can't think about anything else.
Yeah, she's not too bothered about like who is upset about, like, no, like this is my next thing. Like it is what it is. Like and I really do think that she feels that she's like introducing the world to this culture, which she kind of was again. But even then now in the year of our Lord 2023 to be like, no, what do you mean that was bad? No, not at all. That's the problem.
Deny. Yeah, Roy Cohn is advising her on how she should confront this.
Yeah.
That is disappointing, though, because it is sort of, again, is it the most egregiously racist thing anyone's ever done? No, because I agree with Deanna that like she doesn't, she didn't have ill intent with this. I don't think that she understands, or she's at least publicly not understanding why some of this was what we now know to be problematic, but she just doesn't want to budge on that. I don't like when people are immune to being educated or immune to elevation. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean like her legacy is going to be in the toilet.
No.
Like, we're still going to listen to these songs forever, but like, it's a little dicey. Like it was what she did with those girls was definitely dicey.
And also too, like, even just hearing, imagine if I said to you, and then in 2023, she said, at the time, I really felt like I was like introducing the world to this culture, and like looking back, I'm not the person that is really the one that should have done that. And like, I would have never, like like nowadays, like I would never have done that.
Right.
And then we'd all would have been like, we love her. Like
logic. That makes sense.
Yeah.
or to even say like, like, you know what? If I look back on it, where I made the biggest misstep is just not giving them any agency over it. I took it over pretty completely and had them behind me. And that I wish I had sort of shared that moment with them more and included them and like, ask them advice, ask them a question, not
call them by their real names. Yeah.
Not rename them and then branded that name into a clothing line that they they don't get anything from. Like
Nothing. And look, it goes without saying too, we all sort of bought into it. Like, I don't mind saying that at the time when I was looking at this, I thought they're just the Japanese version of like Robert Palmer's girls. She's just carting them with her everywhere, and it's a sexy look. And I thought nothing of it, but it's just, the world changes. We look, there's episodes of Friends we don't watch. We can't watch anymore. There's lots of things we did 20, 25 years ago that we're just sort of re-examining. Although we might be in a small moment in the timeline where we're going in reverse a little bit, but we don't talk about such things on this podcast. But no, it's just funny that 20 years later, we're sort of re-examining. This is a whole, and we've been doing it on this podcast for months now. Like, we're looking at this whole era of time pretty obsessively on Fixing Famous People. Like, about like all the mistakes that were made that we didn't realize were mistakes at the time, just because we're evolving.
Yeah. I mean,
and I just got to say it, and forgive me if this is horrible, but she's coming out in 2023 and talking about how this wasn't an issue, and also herself very physically changing. Like, remember when she shows up on Fallon and it's like, oh, when you say you're Japanese, you mean you're literally like, you're actually changing yourself to look like you might be biracial. Like, she's had work done where there was a moment when I'm like, are you doing this on purpose? Because remember, she showed up on Fallon, was it 2 years
and
ago?
looked like a different person. Like, remember when Renee Zellweger got that one facelift and we were like, whoa. She got the same. She got the Renee Zellweger.
It's just, you need, as we know, as we've always known, you need time to settle. And if you don't, that time can be 2 years. So,
it really can though with that kind of, but same thing happened with Madonna. Remember, like she everything settled before the tour, but she appeared on the Grammys before the tour that year.
Yeah,
it was like,
it was
who is this woman?
Yeah. I mean, okay, have we litigated the Harajuku girls to the hilt? I feel
that we have to move on to.
I think it's we know that it was terrible, but we all listened to it. Again, the album was great. Then she does The Sweet Escape, which in my opinion is the best album she's ever made.
Mm.
And that song with Akon, where it's wee woo woo woo, like if I could escape. Yeah, and you've been acting like someone on the phone. That's the restaurant. Don't me. That's the reason I've been acting so cold. If I could escape. Like, oh, please. I know every single word to that song.
Shantae, you stay, Christopher. That was very impressive.
That was great.
That album is even some of the deep cuts that like never saw the light of day on a radio. Like are some of they're really good pop songs.
What about what winds it up with the yodeling, the Sound
Incredible.
of Music yodeling? I mean, that was great. That's a hit.
Yes. Many people had to explain, like, this is a song from The Sound of Music. And they're like, what? And I was like, no, like, it is. And I was like, hear all these, like, weird horns in the background? Like, that's what that is. And then, And she did a good job because, like, Rich Girl was from Fiddler on the Roof. And she kind of had this, like, chokehold on us where she was like, I'm going to do show tunes, but make them a pop song. And it worked over and over and over.
Oh, yeah.
I believe on Sweet Escape, is the song 4 in the Morning on that?
I don't know that.
One moment. Yes, it is.
How does that go?
Oh, it's a good one. It's so 4 in the morning and the tears are pouring and I want to make it worth the fight. But if you heard it, you would.
Okay.
I'm not doing a good job.
Okay.
And all I know is, if you heard it, you would be like, oh, I've heard this song in a grocery store.
Okay. That album spawned Wind It Up, which was the Sound of Music song.
Great song.
4 in the Morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now That You Got It.
Now that you can burn it, you can do about it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's the name of the Akon song? Why am I not?
The Sweet Escape.
It's called The Sweet Escape. Is the name of the
titular song.
The titular. Oh, God. I'm glad I asked that just to hear the word.
And like she knocks it out of the park again.
Yeah, she's riding high. It's a great sophomore album. Like no slump at all. In fact, she's sort of like rising. Like it was a great effort.
Then what happens? Then she's on The Voice.
Yeah, it took a couple of years, but she ended up on The Voice. I think at a certain point in these years after the second album, she reunited with No Doubt for a minute as well.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if this is the time when and this happens a lot. It happens when I say it happens, I mean, it affects the careers of women. Rarely does it affect the careers of men, but shit started happening in her personal life. And then she sort of when this happens, women tend to fade into the background when shit happens to them. I refer you, of course, to Janet Jackson's tit as an example, where it's like the man who exposed it went on to achieve great success in DUIs while Janet disappeared for a couple of years in shame by CBS. She was married to Gavin Rossdale, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They met in 95. They have... I don't know when they got married, but they have 3 kids, and the kids were around. The kids were born in 2006 and 2008 and 2014. And then the scandal happened and they split up in 2015. Now their divorce was irreconcilable differences, but he had a pretty public affair with someone.
Oh, you're right.
You guys, this is where I can shine. Okay. Because I
Ladies
got
and
this.
gentlemen,
I've got
Deanna Cheng.
I've got it.
The floor is
fact,
yours.
I do have pictures for you as well, because there's something that I didn't realize that chilled me to the bone over what happened with Gavin. So she was pregnant, going back to Jesus. One of her sons was like, we want you to have another baby. And she was in her 40s at that time and was like, but it may not happen naturally.
She's like, what else do you want from me, Jesus Christ?
Right. And then her son
you
started
ask for a
praying.
Nintendo instead.
Also, like, if I was her, I would have been like, no. You know what I mean? Like,
go to your room. Yeah,
go to your room. So when she was pregnant with her miracle Jesus child, because her son was praying every night for a new sibling, she was pregnant. She was offered The Voice. All of that and the scandal all kind of collided around the same time.
Oh.
So she finds out that he's banging the nanny.
The nanny. Yeah, I do remember this. And no, we don't mean Fran Drescher.
Although.
Sorry, I had to. I don't know what, that was the dumbest joke ever, but I just had to. Anyway, so he's banging the nanny.
And one of the rags had these headlines. It was a 3-year affair with the Australian nanny. She suggests that Gavin left Gwen Stefani in the hospital with giving birth to sleep with the nanny when she gave birth to their third son.
Oh, God.
And then you see her name is Mindy Mann. What's up, girl? She also fully, the Selena Gomez, Hailey Bieber thing that's happening right now where it's an expose on how Hailey was pretty much stalking Selena Gomez. She would post something in an outfit. This is before she married Justin.
When she's just a Nepo baby of the world.
Yeah, they have all this, Selena would be in a little outfit. Next day, Hailey's in it online. They have there's a whole TikTok series that's just
look at how fucking crazy this girl is. Yeah.
It's truly single white female. Truly.
Yeah.
It's same tattoos. It's crazy. Same. Yeah. She did one does a cooking show. The other does a cooking show with the same intro. This girl is stealing Gwen Stefani's different looks in a way that is so shocking. I'm going to...
Really?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just going to send you some quick pics. So, that's when, and this is where we are today, where we're all deeply concerned because Gwen, we do not know if she is a MAGA or not, right? That's today.
Sure.
And I feel what happened that year.
This is the beginning. This is the beginning of the end for her.
Is why we're there. So this is just this. I'm sending you a picture of the nanny with her family. It is so nasty. So horrible to see.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Right?
That's not the nanny.
What?
That's not the nanny.
That is the nanny. Why do you say that's not the nanny?
Because she's a dead ringer for Gwen Stefani.
Yes, here. And then
the blonde hair. Okay, so what Gavin
the nanny's
Ross
hot and young.
Wow.
Gavin is so hot. It's so upsetting. Looking at pictures, I'm God damn, he's so hot.
He's got it. Good.
Holy shit. She is a doppelganger.
It's really crazy.
Oh my God. And the pictures. Okay, all these pictures she's sending us is just these side by sides. And it's Gwen with a side bang and a little bandana. And then the other little one with the exact same makeup, the red lip. The peroxide hair and the red lip is Gwen Stefani. I'm sorry.
So there's nowhere to run, nowhere. That's Gwen.
Listeners, if you're unable to Google at the moment because you're driving or on the toilet, actually on the toilet's the best time to Google, so I take that last condition back. They are twins. This mistress is the twin of the person he's married to. Pretty insane. I never knew this, by the way. I don't think I'd ever seen her photo before you just sent it.
When I knew it was a nanny.
Oh God.
And I knew it was kind of a younger nanny, but then launching an investigation for this podcast, I was shooketh by these pictures because we did not. The other thing, and I listened to Gwen talk to Ryan Seacrest after her album about, the breakup went out. And he's asking her point blank. It's the most focused and real I've ever seen Ryan Seacrest. He's trying to get to the nitty gritty of what
he's
happened.
He's I am Diane Sawyer and don't you ever fucking forget it. Yeah.
It was, I'm oh, hello. I never seen this side of you. Welcome in.
We've literally been with you forever.
Really and truly. She said there was one incident that was the worst of everything that she had learned. So I think she'd already heard the affair. Rumor has it and Ryan didn't get this out of her, but rumor has it that she found naked pictures of the nanny on her kid's iPad.
No.
Oh.
And I have to imagine what that means is like Gavin is not that young. Like he's not stupid young. And I feel like he had an iCloud share account. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
yeah.
he's using his iCloud so his kids can buy the apps because they can't. You know what? I think his dumb ass threw those pictures were on the cloud.
Oh God.
On his kid's iPad. And she found them. And that's when everything like fully exploded.
Sure. Yeah, he wanted to get
Taylor's all his time, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Like he just wanted to get caught. It sounds like, oh my God, how did this happen? But he just wanted to get caught. He didn't know what to do. He knew he was going to be sunk. He was cheating on America's sweetheart after she gave him a miracle baby.
And also like with his nanny, with the nanny that lives in their house with them probably. Like, you know.
Who's a twin. Who's a twin of his wife. Good Lord.
Horrid. Anywho.
So
they get divorced. And then I feel like not that long after, she's then on The Voice. Are we wrong? Am I wrong?
It's all
happening at the same time.
Because that's when, because she doesn't tell anyone. Nobody knows that their marriage is crumbling.
Yeah,
right.
Blake Shelton is, his marriage to Miranda Lamberg is falling apart. And he says something to Gwen and she's like, we need to talk. And that's when they started.
Right. And by talk, we mean fuck.
Bang.
Obviously.
Yeah, their genitals speak to each other.
Yeah.
The language of love. Because her kid, that last kid, the miracle baby, was born in February of 2014. And it was in August of 2015 that she filed for divorce from Gavin. And then she announced her relationship with Blake in November of 2015, which is just 3 months after the divorce was filed. So,
and like, I'm sorry.
I mean, a girl after my own heart, though. She's not wasting any time. She's like, I have two things to tell you. My marriage is over and I'm fucking Blake Shelton, honey.
And I gave birth to second Jesus. So thank you. You know, it's been a busy 6 months. Thanks.
Yeah, she's like, it's been a busy quarter. Yeah, it's been, okay, now I'm just going to have to say this right now.
Okay.
I think Blake Shelton is not only a loser, untalented. I find him so stupid. Like when she was with him, like all the millennials were like, what are you doing to yourself? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're with this like country bumpkin. Like, you're like this alt queen. Like, you're with this like country bumpkin loser who like barely has any good songs. Like, he's lucky that The Voice scooped him up to be like that, because he is not, in my opinion, at all like a great country star.
No.
I've just never thought there was anything special about him that he would achieve the superstardom that he has. I don't think I wouldn't say he's untalented, but I don't think he's talented enough to have the fame that he has. And as someone who's definitely not a millennial, I just looked at this and was like, I don't know any other way to phrase it than I just thought Gwen Stefani was too cool to be with Blake Shelton. And it does nothing necessarily to do with country music, but she's just was always so like cutting edge with everything. And then to just sort of like, I don't know, he wasn't her star equivalent.
It's seemingly people that don't speak the same language even. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like like Dominic, not to invoke your current situation.
Me and everyone that I sleep with? No, that only benefits me because I'm not interested in what any of them are saying.
But do you know what I mean? Like the twain do not meet other than being on this show together, where you would think that she would think he was like a fucking loser. And then meanwhile, he's like, but you know what? Maybe he's
right. Like Gwen's supposed to be here with us making fun of Blake Shelton.
Right.
She's not supposed to be fucking him.
Sure.
Like, we're supposed to be kikiing about how silly he is.
But you know, maybe
have a weekend, have fun.
Sure.
You know, you don't lock it down with him.
No, she was
like, he's cute. I do think he's cute. And I do think he's got that, like, you know, I don't think he has done an episode of The Voice without like fully being wasted with his little solo cup. Like, he's forever junk off his ass watching, you know, at all
times. But like seemingly a gentleman. Like, he seems like a nice person. He's not like mean or an asshole. Like, he's like
he's kind of funny in that way that's charming enough, you know?
She's probably like, I was with the cool guy and look what he did to me. Like, look at you. You're just like an Oklahoma gentleman.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
That's what
That's a good point. She probably was
out.
like, let me get with someone who's never going to find someone better than me because
I'm like rocking his world in every way imaginable.
Yeah.
Like,
which obviously we need to sort of remove from our brains that at one point he was named People's Sexiest Man Alive.
Yeah.
I don't like how.
Anywho.
Yeah. We are sexier men than Blake Shelton.
Yeah,
I stand by that. I don't care who's rolling their eyes listening to this. How dare you people? Even the Bible's wrong from time to time.
Well, they now knowing that they did sort of trauma bond about their divorces, and I think cheating was happening possibly in both cases.
Yeah, probably.
You know, and when you are coming from that point of view that everything is divinely happening for you because you're in this super, super special position in life as a pop superstar, you know, there's no, she thought Jesus put him in her path. Hello.
Oh no.
Am I?
I'm letting that wash all over me. I'm letting that wash all over me, and it didn't. I was in shock.
You didn't like it.
I didn't love it. No, but it's just true. You are right, but I'm
we were bathing in your wisdom. We were taking a slow bath in your wisdom. We're like,
there?
That's Deanna Cheng for you right there, making you think. By the way, what happens then pretty soon afterwards is that, you know, I am a Christmas queen. It is well documented, and I can take just about any Christmas song. They release a joint Christmas song called You Make It Feel Like Christmas. And when I tell you, when I hear that song, You Make It Feel Like Christmas, when I hear that, I would rather there not be Christmas than to have that song exist. That's what I want. I would rather listen to Pentatonics on a loop for 10 days straight and without sleep than hear that song once.
Hark how the bells here to mama.
Fuck you, Glee. How dare you give birth to that?
This is what I'll say. Okay, one little more thing about Blake Shelton is that I find that he drags people into his orbit, and he's like, you could do country.
Well, the thing about that show, I remember when I first started watching it, it took me a minute because I think I missed the first few seasons, and I'm like, wait a minute. Why is that guy that nobody really knows his music? Why is he pulling? Why does everyone want to work with him?
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And you learn quickly that America's voting for this, you know, the country music players on the show.
Yeah.
So he also just lucked into that specific judging area that does really, really, really well.
On NBC.
On NBC.
Primetime NBC network television. Yeah.
So, you know, he's feeling himself over there.
Sure.
As well. And it's very lucrative.
Yeah.
Then we get to present day, which for me, present day Gwen begins with, we don't see her for a minute. I mean, she's on The Voice. She's with Blake. I feel like she's out of sight after that for a minute. And then she pops up on Fallon. And I just distinctly remember the next day. We could litigate whether or not it's horrible. We do talk about people's physical appearances here all the time, but deal with it. She appears on Fallon with a new face. This is when I feel like this is really Gwen 3.0 as far as I'm concerned. Like this starts this whole era of those of us who have been fans of her for 20 years now don't recognize her anymore, both physically and emotionally. She just seems like somehow the uncoolest person, you know, like even with the few years we have her with Blake Shelton, we're still like, okay, she's still Gwen.
We're like, she's stigmatized by this country, man.
Yeah.
So like, we'll let it slide. Yeah, right. We're like, you know.
We've all been there. Some of us are there pretty regularly. So we get it. We get it. But then she comes out, she sort of pushed it at least temporarily too far with the work. Then comes the weaponization of Christianity, which she is not the first, nor will she be the last. And just as a fan, you're sort of looking at her and thinking, what? So aren't you Gwen Stefani?
Yeah.
Aren't you the singer of Cool? Like, didn't we sing this up to ourselves about all of our exes 20 years ago? Didn't you help us with your music? Now what are you doing? And look, there's nothing wrong with religion.
Yeah.
Do you, but this is not Gwen Stefani. Like, what is going on?
And even just remember, like, no doubt, like, It's My Life. Like, the music video is her, like, going on trial for murdering everyone else in the band. Like, just think about how fun and cool that was. And, like, she's then, like, in the electric chair at the end. Like, just remember that that's who that person is. And then now she's popping up on Instagram in these ads for this Hallow app, which is Mark Wahlberg's prayer
Those are the
app.
magic words right there. Yeah, those are the magic words right there. Because that's not someone you want to do business with. You know what? Is he on our unfixables list?
Yes,
because
he is. I put him on there very early.
Very early. Really early.
Never forget
the term.
Never forget whenever he like beat up that Asian man for being Asian and
Mm-hmm.
like committed a hate crime for no reason at all whenever he was like 20 years old.
Hilarious.
That's all.
Hilarious that he beat up an Asian man and this is now his partner in prayer. Is the person
the woman that's in
who enslaved 4 Japanese women for 3 years. That's right.
Stop enslaved.
Oh God.
Deanna, did you wanted to talk about the app? Have you done extensive research on Halo?
I only went as far as I could go without joining. You know,
sure.
But so yeah, it seems that she has publicly said that we have to pin some of this. I mean, I do want to pin a lot of it on Gavin, you know, why we're here right now.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like we would never be
here. No, they would have been doing duets and like doing weird, like sexual music videos together. Like, yeah, it would have been us. Speaking of prayer, it would have been up to some demonic stuff if not for
this thing that happened. It spun her understandably. She's got, newborn hormones coursing through her body. And she finds out he's banging her nanny that she's been around and been with. And they had like a 3-year affair. So I blame him 100%.
Sure.
98%. So she went deep in, she's, Jesus. But then when that happened, she really went into her Catholicism. Is anyone here Catholic? I
Recovering.
am.
Yes,
okay.
all of us, yeah.
All of us, okay. Mm-hmm. So I feel like
9 years an altar boy, by the way. 9 years.
Of course you were.
Which I hope explains everything single thing that I do in my life.
It absolutely does. I see Barbara signing you up to be an altar boy. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
9. So she went deep she found him again. And of course, I think being with Blake, now we're in like a more of a country. It's just like Jesus is now Catholicism's moved front and center. And that prayer helped her through. So now she's gone so deep into it, and the app, based on what I'm seeing on the app, I mean, there's a startling when you're just looking at it to like kind of get an overview. It is startling that they ask you a couple of questions to find out how you want to pray. Mm. And it's like, which of these guides would you like to listen to? Jim Caviezel.
Oh my God, he played Jesus in
like that. And he's number 1, by the way.
The Mel Gibson movie.
Father Mike Schmitz. Okay, well, Father Mike Schmitz. Yeah, he's a father.
Hearing Father in the beginning of that is comforting, at least a little bit.
Yeah, Sister Miriam, and none of them have faces. It's very strange. Or Mark Wahlberg.
Jim Caviezel's also a lunatic, by the way. Just FYI, he should also be on the Unfixables list. Not that anyone
not famous enough, but sure.
Care. No,
yeah, he's a lunatic. No, or Mark Wahlberg, like noted devotee to the Lord.
What stinks about this is that it affects the legacy of everything that came before it. Like, No Doubt was a great band. Like they could have been like historically, and I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they could have been like Fleetwood Mac-ish, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no,
like,
for
legacy
real.
wise,
for
like
real.
She was romantically with, was his name Tony, one of the No Doubt members. So it was like, it was almost a very similar story, also very California, just like, the Fleetwood Mac story is very California, the origin story. And they could have been that. And you can't listen to that music the same way, knowing that she is
And they were doing
in cahoots with Mark Wahlberg on a prayer app.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, how do you listen to all those? How do you listen to Don't Speak after that? Without thinking, this is who she is now.
It's also a thing where they were doing something so experimental and different, and it was so interesting, and we liked it. And it was like, it became, again, much like she, the Harajuku girls, she was bringing Harajuku to America. The like ska punk vibe was like they made that mainstream. What other band do I know that is like that? That's like a real famous band,
right?
Not one that came before her. None, like
none
to be on Kiss FM. You know what I mean? None of them, like not one. Right?
Do you guys think that there's a world in which she's like, listen, meditation apps do well. Like, I do think prayer is important and more people,
no, there's a world in which like the prayer app of it all isn't the worst part of it. It's the fact that like of all the people in the world, it's her that's doing it is I think more.
Yeah.
Because the coolest person alive, right? Like the coolest person alive doing the most base, and again, like I'm not coming for religion in general. What I have a problem with is when people go, look, you have to do whatever you need to do to get through shit in life. We all understand that. Whatever you need to do you. So that above whatever snotty thing I'm about to say. But it's just, I just prefer that people turn to themselves rather than, pull strength from something that may or may not exist. That's why I always have a problem with people who are like, well, I trust God. And I always say, but I trust me first. Like, I got to get through this rather than a voice from a cloud that I've never actually heard leading me through my life and making me cast judgments on other people. You know what I mean? Like, this is a club, I don't want to get too deep, but Catholicism's a club that doesn't want Chris or I as members in it.
No.
And so that's why people like us recoil when someone's found Jesus. I'm always like, well, don't tell me where he is because he doesn't want me there, So I'm glad you found him.
And it's like, this is all for a paycheck. That's the other part of this is like, if she was like, we saw the paparazzi pictures of her like going to church, like that would be one thing. But like, I've yet to see that.
Right.
The reason I know that she's found Jesus is because of this Instagram ad for Mark Wahlberg's prayer app. And does she do music anymore? Like, no, right? Not that she needs to. I'm sure that she's like, I don't know.
I think that was the album where she went into the breakup and that was her last.
And that was a long time ago because I remember that song and I loved that one song. It was called Truth.
So good.
And I was like, this is a great song. Like it was, but like that was a long time ago now.
Like 5 years ago?
She released a country album in November. It's called
Here we go.
Bouquet.
Here we go.
Oh my God, you're right.
It's called Bouquet. I don't recall any movement, any press, any performances. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I just not on the radar, at least of this podcast, because we love her and we would have talked about it. And this was only, it was 6 months ago. It was right before Christmas that she released this album.
Well, Dominick, I did have to introduce you to Rita Wilson's country music on a episode.
Oh, yes, you did. And that was quite something. Now, I will say she's wearing like a country hat on the cover of the album. In a press release for Bouquet, she said that the album would return to her roots in reggae and ska music. And that she was inspired by world news events such as the Me Too movement and the COVID-19 pandemic to create uplifting and positive music. Ooh, brother.
Huh?
That's some wild shit. That is quite a press release.
That sounds like I'm throwing every nugget of shit against the wall and making a press release out of it and seeing what sticks.
And that sounds like I'm trying to scoop up the entire country and monetize it.
Yeah, yeah. And like Hassan told me, like he saw online, like people like covering up their No Doubt tattoos because she's like on this prayer app.
I mean, that's what happens.
Like it's like not just like people are like very upset about it, way more than we are. I'm like, knock yourself out. Like, what do I fucking care? But it's just so odd. It just it's a very obvious, odd, weird move that seems so inauthentic to who she was back in the day.
Yeah. It makes me nervous. Like I'm always nervous because, Cher loves to go on little like Twitter rants and stuff. And she's getting up there. And I'm always like, she toes the line a lot with these tweets. And I'm always thinking, please don't accidentally tweet something so horrible that I have to redecorate my house because there's so much Cher shit hanging here. I'm like, you can't, please die respectable is what I have to say about Cher.
Yeah,
but like the covering up of the tattoos, I get it. I mean, she's altered her legacy for real in the past couple of years.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say that's really sad is that she was such a powerful person.
Mm-hmm.
And then to just be like some guy's wife. Does that make sense? Because that's what it's giving. I'm some guy's wife.
It's giving wife.
Does that make sense?
Wow.
Like my husband's into this, so now I'm gonna be into it.
You have silenced award winner Deanna Cheng with these statements. We're looking at her now.
Not okay. I'm not okay because I'm just really feeling like the weight of what's happened here.
Chris, are we at the arena? I feel like we each have one foot on the red carpet and we're approaching the fixing arena right
We
here.
do, but I don't feel great. Okay. Gwendolyn, Renee Charles, Renee Angelil Charles, Stefani. I would like Gwen to do the following. I would like there could be a reunion tour of No Doubt. That alone, I think, would really help us just in general. If they just went around and did their hits and then some deep cuts. I think that would help the fandom. But what I really want, I would like there to be an oral history of No Doubt. And I would like all four of them to be participants in it and have like a ghostwriter or like some biographer that's like very revered to interview all four of them about the different eras and then write a book about what happened. How did they start? How did they get their first gig? How did they blah, blah, blah. Then they were dating. Then they were broken up. And then the whole one album wasn't the whole one album just all about their breakup? And he was like performing the music that was about him. Like, what did he think about that? What did Gwen think about that? What did blah, blah, blah? What happened whenever Gwen went on solo and was with the Harajuku Girls? What did they think? Like, all of them be together and they can even all be like authors of the book, but it's like they all get interviewed by the same person. And it's like this memoir about all four of them. That I think is really interesting. And even if she's now this weird person that we don't like what's happening, we can live in the world. We can retreat back to No Doubt and live in the world where she's the coolest person alive and is like doing cool shit. And we all want to be her. And we're wearing beanies with long, like peroxide hair and boyfriend boxers with the low saggy pants and the wife beater.
And that's your pitch.
That's my pitch.
Gwendolyn, Renee, Stefani, Rossdale, Shelton.
Ooh.
Dear God.
How dare you? How dare you put us in this predicament? We were all rooting for you.
For real.
This is what I think. And I know, I think my pitch is more similar to Chris's than normal. But what I think is, I agree with everything Chris wants to accomplish. The way I think it should be accomplished is solely through an Eras style tour with No Doubt and Gwen Stefani. And the interstitials of that are them talking, like in between sets and outfit changes. And, you know, all the interstitials are sort of revelatory quotes from everyone in the band and from Gwen about what life was like back then, her dating Tony, her going off on her own, even her divorce and all that stuff. What I don't want to feature in it is anything with Blake or the app. I almost think it's like she should, I don't think she's ever going to move away from that. So I almost feel disingenuous saying like, I don't think that this part of her life is ever going to go away. I think she's very deeply mired in her country and her religious lifestyle now. So what I want her to do is just show the fans that what she gave us 20 years ago was not a mirage, and just service us with a 3-hour version, because there is easily 3 hours of music between No Doubt and Gwen's studio albums. There is a shitload of music there, and to sort of take us through the journey that way. It would reunite No Doubt, which would service really multiple generations. Like I think that this was a band that appealed to like people my age and Chris's age. I think we have similar affection for them. And that's my pitch, really. It's just sort of like, I don't know how we would accomplish just ending the Blake thing, but I feel like she's got two different audiences, pre-Blake and post-Blake. I think these are two very, very different groups of people. And I think the people that made her a celebrity are owed a tour and an explanation. And I think that's how to do it. And you'd have to involve No Doubt with it as well. And that's my pitch.
Beautiful work, guys. Beautiful work.
You know, and I'm not poo-pooing Chris's pitch at all. I just don't think she's ever going to be in the headspace again. She was given the opportunity in 2023 to say, yeah, you know, the Harajuku thing was a little bit dicey, but instead, like what Chris had mentioned earlier, she said, you know, growing up, my dad, we were working, we went back and forth to Japan. I brought Japan to the world, blah, blah. Like, she's not getting it. And I don't think she's going to get it. I don't think she wants to get it. I don't think she's interested in it. So we just
now she's definitely not getting it.
No, not at all. So we just need her to gift us with one final hurrah of the Gwen that we fell in love with to make us forget what she's doing now.
Wow. Guys, this is like really important, first of all. You know,
everything we do here is, girl.
Thank you.
This is not light. I didn't know the gravity of the situation until today. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand what was happening. So with that said, you both have her on tour with No Doubt. Now, Chris, you had her doing a sit-down interview with the band. And as much as I think I would maybe buy the book, I don't think I'm going to read it, because that's what I do with a lot of books.
Sure.
So I would prefer to go see this Era style tour with the chit chat interstitials. That is how I would like to receive this information.
Sure.
Just let it, instead of me having to do the heavy lifting, I would like it to be presented to me in one night, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
That's fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
If you don't mind.
If you don't mind. So that's how I would like to receive this. I know I've brought it up a couple times, but based on the Jennifer Hudson hallway dance.
Yeah, with the hallway dance.
I don't think she's as far from us as we think she is. And I think that she ultimately knows that her legacy is meaningful. And even if she's like looking over at her drunk country partner and thinking like, I do still want to be with him, I cannot allow him to have, like, if people are covering up my tattoos, like, I have worked too hard for that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, correct.
So I think that she's currently regrouping. I do. I'm feeling it. Now that we've really like gotten into her, I think there's a world in which Gwen gets fixed through prayer through the app. And I'm not joking. Like, if everyone gets on there and just starts like dedicating prayer towards Gwen,
she could be on the prayer chain. She needs her own prayer chain, is really
she may come around the other side.
Deanna, where can people find you? We have the Montage Queen. We have How to Be Less Old. Where should we go for more Deanna?
My Substack is howtobelessold.substack.com. We have a really great episode with you guys. It's a podcast and it's a Substack. We need to bring some new fashions to you guys, by the way.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
Like, it's time to get down to it. You know, we need to bring Tomato Girl 2.0 to you.
Sure, into that.
Yes. And then if you just go to Instagram at Deanna M. Cheng, themontagequeen.com. I mean, listen, if you're dealing with bat mitzvahs, birthdays, come my way. I am the queen at the end of the day.
Yes, you are. Love you so much. Dominick, where can people find you?
Oh, the website's domentary.com. The Insta's at Dominick Pupa. The TikTok is at Domentary. And don't forget about the Fixing Famous People TikTok, which is at Fixing Famous People Pod. Christopher, where can our listeners find you on this massive thing we call the internet?
You can find me at the Chris DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People. You can find the Patreon at patreon.com/fixingfamouspeople. And you can find us on YouTube at Fixing Famous People on YouTube. Dominick, Deanna, I wish you both well. And as always, where's Shelley? Goodbye. Where is she? Bye.